Good evening, everybody. And welcome to another episode of ABC. I am your host, Ada Brooks with Ada Brooks Consultant. Good evening, Miss Natural Natasha. How are you? We're going to give a quick recap of my weekend, this past Memorial Day weekend. And we know Memorial Day was on Monday. And I hope that everybody enjoyed their families. I cannot thank my Hunter family enough, especially Miss Yolanda Burgess, and she lives in Jacksonville, but from Osceola, Arkansas, which is my first cousin. Thank you so very much for honoring the Hunter family on this past weekend. You guys, I had a great time. Thank you all so much for showing us love. You probably say, oh my God, they is flooding our timeline with all their pictures. We had such a great time. And I really, really enjoyed. That's my dad's side of the family in Osceola, Arkansas. Hey, Top Boz over on the gram. How are you? So we are just so elated to have all of those family members that showed up. The Love Junior on the gram. Good evening. How are you? Thank you for joining me on tonight. We had such a great time. So thank you all so very, very much. Continue to show us love because we're not through yet. We're still flooding the timelines with a whole lot of more pictures. So just endure us for another couple of days. Also, I want to say thank you all so very much for wishing me a happy new chapter. It's a pre-celebration that took place on Tuesday, but the actual day is Saturday. I am super excited because, yeah, I'm still enjoying this new chapter. It kicked off last weekend and I could not be more happy. So I am looking forward to this new chapter. And if this is how it's going to start, oh, I can only imagine how it's going to end. It is going to be great. So, with that being said, good evening. Hey, K3, how are you? And Miss Elegant Photography, how are you? So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna go ahead and jump right on in here because I'm getting emails, I'm getting phone calls, and people's like, look, the kids is out of school. Can you talk about this? So we're going to talk about, I love you too, cousin. We're going to talk about how are you showing up. Now, I'm just going to give you a prelude to next week because next week we're going to talk about your first 90 days of employment. Yes, these are for those summer kids that's already, they looking for new jobs or got summer jobs, but we're going to talk about your first 90 days of employment. Good evening, Zach. How are you? Thank you for joining me on tonight. So, I want to know, you guys, how are you all showing up? Because if you're not showing up correctly, you're not going to get a job anyway. And you say, Miss Ada, what do you mean if I'm not showing up correctly? Okay, so if you're showing up and you smelling like, yeah, I'm going here first. You smelling like your extracurricular activities. And if you don't know what your extracurricular activities are, then I'm going to tell you. If you're showing up and you smelling like weed, and as the old people may say, you showing up and smelling like reefer, okay. You've already told us what it is that you do in your extracurricular, your time away from work. No, you will not get a job. No, we are not going to interview you. More or less, you wasting your time. And for us, we're saying, I'm not going to waste my time. Because if you're not showing up correctly, if you're not showing up like you want the job, you're not showing up like you already have the job, then no, you will not get the job. You say, but my resume looks so good, but you don't smell right. To us, that's called a safety hazard. Okay. Because it doesn't matter what industry you work in. If you are working in a factory and you're supposed to be driving a forklift, guess what? If you smelling like your extracurricular activities, that's a safety hazard to us because you may run into something. And now we got a drug test you that you're going to end up feeling anyway. Number two, if you working in that same factory, you say, but I'm just packing boxes. Okay, but you mess around and get your hands stuck on a conveyor belt. And now it's a worker's comp. Possibly 9 times out of 10, it's not, because you're going to get drug tested again. So it's a safety hazard for us when you guys come in smelling like that and you're expecting to get a job. You say, well, I work in the hospital. Hey, Jesse, how are you? You work in the hospital, but you smelling like your extracurricular activities. But you supposed to be drawing blood or giving your patients medication. How about if you give them too much medication? Then what? Now we may have a dead patient on our hands. And that's putting the hospital, that's putting long-term care facility, that's putting a liability on the company. So no, you are not going to get hired. So don't get mad because Miss Ada got to come out this way. Because I'm letting you know, parents, if you have those individuals, those young people, and they're hanging with those individuals, because it's always like this. But it wasn't me. It was my friends. Guilty by association. You say, but I can beat it, so I'm gonna go and ask my little cousin, I'm gonna ask my friend to take a little piss test for me. I'm just saying, why would you even be doing something that's going to affect your livelihood? Because at the end of the day, it will catch up with you. All we're asking you to do is be prepared. Don't come in that manner. If you know you can't stop doing it, then don't be out here looking for no job. Don't be out here wasting anybody's time. Why are you even wasting your own time? Yes, you can come in dressed to the nine, face beat, resume correct, but that's the first thing they smell as soon as you hit the door. You say, but I don't smell it, because we, as individuals who do not smoke, guess what? We smell it first. You say, well, y'all not supposed to judge us. No, and you're not supposed to come in smelling that way, because you're coming to that company for a job. They're not coming to you. So all I'm asking you is, how are you showing up? How are you representing yourself? Because if you can't represent yourself well, the company is saying you can't represent us. Just be mindful of what you present first, because you have one chance to make a first impression. And if your first impression is not right, 9 times out of 10, you don't get a second opportunity. So be mindful. Make sure your resume is formatted correctly. You have all of your jobs. You know how to answer if you have any type of job gaps in your resume. Make sure you're on time for your interview, if not early. But make sure you smell good. Even if it's not your extracurricular activities, make sure you've showered. You say showered. You say, are we really talking about that? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Because I don't need you to just show up and you're not smelling your best. But you put on cologne and perfume trying to cover it up. No, ma'am. No, sir. Should we have to talk about this? No. But it's very apparent that it's happening because I got the phone call and I got the email. So we're just going to address it. Parents, if you're not home with your kid before they leave out, ask them to take a picture and send it to you so you can look them over and tell them to change if they don't look right. If you know Junior and little fast Fanny over there don't like taking showers, tell them make sure they get a shower before they leave the house. But this is how we're showing up, and this is how we're representing ourselves. But you're wondering why you can't get a job. even if it is just a summer job. Come on, we got to do better than this. As a community, we have to do better than this. We have to hold ourselves accountable. Good evening, Miss Pat. How are you? Hey, my sister Nichelle and Jesse, how are you? So we have to do our part to hold everybody accountable. No, we're not trying to get in your business, but we're just trying to give you that olive branch. And if you're not real sure on how you need to do it, do like somebody else did and say, you know what, I'm calling Miss Ada. 501-291-1650. Or you can send us an email at abc@abchr101.com. It's nothing wrong with reinvesting back into yourself and asking for help. I posted today and I posted it on purpose to learn how to guard your ears to protect your mind. And why did I do that? Because we intake so much stuff in our ears that it can affect our minds to the point to how we interact with individuals on a daily basis. Because if you're hanging with your friends, you're trying to go somewhere, you're trying to get a summer job, okay? Be it entry level, mid, what have you, because you're just coming out of high school and you want to be able to do something before you go off to college. So guess what? You know your homeboy, your homegirl ain't really trying to do nothing. And so what they trying to do is keep from you going where you need to go. So they keep pulling your shirt tail. Girl, you ain't got to get no job. Boy, why you guard your ears to protect your mind? Because if you don't, then you will end up hanging on the street corner with your friend. Oh, we just gonna sit up in the house and play the game all day. Hey, Jeremy, over on the gram, how are you? Or our homegirl, we just gonna sit up and make TikTok videos all day, but ain't going nowhere. Is that what we've come to? TikTok and games? But you almost 30 years old and sitting on still on your mama couch. We as a people can no longer operate in that manner. We have to see ourselves bigger than where we are if we're trying to go somewhere. Now, if you're not, you say, hey, Miss Ada, that's not for me. Okay, business as usual for you. But if you're an individual trying to go somewhere, trying to have something, trying to do things differently than what you've done or what you've seen, then reinvest back into yourself. Give ABC a call at 501-291-1650 and say, hey, I need you to look over my resume. I need you to give me some interviewing tips on what it is I need to do to make sure I land this job. Again, even if it's only entry level, because you have to be willing to start somewhere. Good evening, Melvin, over on Facebook. How are you? Thank you for joining me on tonight. Good evening, Gregory. How are you? So it's all up to you and how you decide you want to show up. Because that's what our topic was on tonight is how are you showing up? How? Ask yourself. Because if you leave out the house every day, your pants hanging off your butt, your shirt all the way down here showing all your cleavage, how are you showing up? But you're expecting to get a job. It's not going to happen. At least not at a good company. It just really depends on the industry that you're looking for. But on tonight, I came just to give you your tips on how you need to show up versus how are you showing up. So, we don't stay long. I come to give you the necessary tools that you need. But on next week, please come back and join me because we're going to talk about your first 90 days of employment. That is going to set the pace to see if you are really going to be a good fit for that company or if they're going to be a good fit for you. So until next week, I am Ada Brooks with Ada Brooks Consultant. Come on back and see us for your weekly HR 101 tip. Until next week, I am Ada Brooks. I am celebrating a new chapter on this weekend. Go ahead and wish me a happy birthday. It's okay. I'll appreciate it. Thank you all so very much. Until next week, we're going to go out like this. I am Excellent. That's not good at all. Not- Have a great evening, everybody. Bye.